My name's Teddy Wilson. I'm the host of Mighty Trains and Inner Space on the Space Channel. And thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. And one of my favorite things to do on Inner Space is geek out, and specifically geek out about a lot of the content that your next guest has been a part of, especially, of course, Doctor Who. And never got to host a panel with her, so I'm very excited, and very excited for your audience questions as well. We're going to get to them as quickly as we can, and there's going to be a microphone, I believe, right here in the middle, appearing soon. Oh yeah, so there's going to be a microphone right here, so if you want to get lined up for questions for Billie Piper, it is traveling, and you're traveling already. This is amazing. So if you stop about halfway down, the microphone will meet you. It's a very scientific process. So thank you so much for coming to this panel. Really excited to bring out your guest. She recently won an Olivier Award for her stage work in Yerma. Have you been reading about that and heard about it? It's amazing. She's on a bunch of screens in the UK as well. And of course, incredible work that we all love in Penny Dreadful, and of course, as Rose Tyler on Doctor Who. Please give it up to the big Fan Expo. Welcome for Billie Piper. You're welcome.
Hello.
How's your Fan Expo going?
It's going great. Yeah. How's yours?
Pretty good. Oh, it's amazing. It's really awesome now, I gotta say. You do cons all over the world. Do you find expos and cons are the same all over the world? Is there a real commonality in terms of the fans and the fandom?
Yeah, there is. It's a very, very loyal fan base, and that sort of moves all through the world, which is a lovely, lovely thing for us as actors.
Cool. We're going to take some questions from the audience, but before we start, there's always a question I wanted to ask you, because your role on Doctor Who is a little bit unique in that because you were the first companion of the rebooted series with Christopher Eccleston in 2005, what did you feel? Because I mean, now when people get roles, they can kind of see what modern Doctor Who looks like and what modern Doctor Who fandom looks like. Obviously, we had it going all the way back to 1963, but at the time when you got the gig in 2004, 2005, what were your thoughts on becoming a part of this, and specifically the rebooting of the franchise?
Well, I didn't know that much about it in its original form, so I didn't feel really threatened and just terrified of being part of it. And I'm really glad, actually, that I didn't really know that much about it. And I'm really glad that when I joined the show, there wasn't this social media, madness, because you would feel that so much greater than, and unfortunately, I didn't really know how people felt about the relaunch or me being part of it. And I think there were some disappointed people, but I think that people hate change, and then everyone seems to sort of chill out a bit. But yeah, I was just excited to be working as an actor, and then being part of Doctor Who. I didn't realise what it meant to be part of Doctor Who until like a week into filming. Yeah.
What was the casting like, and what were your thoughts the first time you read the script for that first episode for Rose?
Yeah. What was the question, sorry? What
was the casting or the audition process like?
It was really standard, it's just I went in for an audition. Russell T. Davies was there. Sorry, I feel like I'm excluding you guys. Russell T. Davies was there, and Julie Gardner and Phil Collinson, and I just gave my interpretation of what I thought Rose, who I thought she was, and I wasn't feeling that great. I had a cold, but that seemed to work quite well for me. And then they got me back for a recall, but that time was with Christopher Eccleston. Right. Yeah, in a really horrible room in the BBC.
A boardroom, just boring?
Yeah, just a horrible, really old 70s BBC dreary-looking affair, but the outcome was good. Yeah. Many positives.
For all of us.
Yeah. For all of us, yeah.
Cool. Want to introduce Amanda as well, your sign language interpreter. Give her a big round of applause.
Yay!
And yes, hello there. First audience question. Hi.
So, this is a bit of a loaded question, I guess.
Oh dear.
It's mainly Doctor Who, some Penny Dreadful.
Okay.
So, you started off as Rose, and she's this charismatic, bubbly character. And then you go to Penny Dreadful, where you're Brona and Lily, and you're kind of enigmatic and more serious. So what happens if their personalities were swapped? How do you think the Doctor would have handled that? And
Poorly, like. Yeah, I don't think he would have handled it at all well, because he has such zest for life and such verve and such positivity that anything sort of sinister, I think, would have really, really unnerved him, especially as a travelling companion, like constantly. Yeah, I don't think he would have coped at all well with if Rose switched with Lily. I think he would find that incredibly hard to manage, as would most, sane people. I think she would be challenging to all of us.
What was it like for you to start playing Brona and Penny Dreadful after having played Rose and played other types of characters in your other work as well? What was it like to kind of start to inhabit that character?
It was really good to be part of that show and to be playing that character, because it was sort of like two characters in one. There was the sort of sweet, charming, salt of the earth Brona character, and then there was, I suppose there was three actually, then there was the very, saccharine sweet, very misleading Lily, and then, in the end she was full-blown monster. So it was a great challenge as an actress, and it was a welcome change to the stuff I'd done before. It felt like a good place to go after things like Doctor Who and then Secret Diary, which was radically different, and then it felt nice to move into that area.
Fun to play a monster-esque character?
Yeah, like too much fun. I thought it was going to be really, really hard, but I just slipped into it very easily. Yeah.
Hello. Hey there.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just want to start by saying, you were my first companion that I ever saw with Christopher Eccleston, actually, in The Empty Child. And you actually totally made Doctor Who awesome for me. I had never seen it before, and my family loved it, so I was like, okay, I gotta see more of this after that. And so my question is, which episode did you have the most fun making out of Doctor Who?
Well, Tooth and Claw was really good fun, just because it was contained in this castle, and it was just us running, being chased by this werewolf, effectively just a man in a green cat suit. So that gave us a lot of joy. And then New Earth was really fun as well, for obvious reasons. It felt like we could be really sort of, really sort of like theatrical, and it was way more comedic. And then I also really liked doing our scenes on the beach at the end, because I think that was quite therapeutic in a way. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey there. Is that a Ray from Star Wars? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Hey, little Ray. Hey.
Hi. I'm a huge fan, Billie. You're my favorite character.
Oh, darling.
So my question is, when you first got to meet Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant, did you, click with them very fast, or did it take you a while?
Well, I'd say it went quite well with both of them pretty immediately. I think when you've got good people casting the show, they get a good sense of personalities that are going to work well together. That's something they look very carefully for, is like the chemistry of two people. Unfortunately, I felt very at ease with both of them. I think that when we started filming the second series, everybody was a bit more relaxed, which made a lot more room for laughter and jokes and all that stuff. Like the first series, we were all like, oh my God, you know, this is huge, this is massive production, and a lot of us hadn't worked in that way before, so we were all being very diligent, and that left less time for messing around, you know. When it came to shooting stuff with David, we were all just, you know, right up for having a good old time. Unfortunately, he was the nervous one. He was the nervous one, so we sort of encouraged him to enjoy that and be part of it. But yeah, it was pretty seamless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question.
Hi.
Hey.
So my question is, how has playing Rose Tyler changed you as a person?
I think being in Doctor Who has changed my life, and has, you know, I've never been, since doing Doctor Who, I've never been part of anything like it, and it's affected my life in more positive ways. And it brings me very close to fans, very close to, you know, kids. I get to talk a lot about Doctor Who with children, and I really, really love that. So in many ways, it's been a great way for me to connect with people. I feel like Rose, I knew before I played Rose. Like Rose, I think one of the reasons I got the part was because I felt very similar to the character Rose as a human, you know, as a real person living a life in a small town, feeling really frustrated by my opportunities. So I sort of knew her, and I was comfortable being that person. But yeah, Doctor Who's changed my life phenomenally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How did you feel when you started to see, when that first season started to air, how fans were connecting with Rose as well, and maybe a similar way to the way that you did? How did that make you feel when you saw the response to the character?
Well, I think when it first came out and I saw what it meant to fans and how life changed, like everywhere we went in the UK, it sort of dominated every conversation. You know, people loved it. But I found it, if I'm really honest, I found it quite overwhelming at first. And I wanted to, you know, I wanted some separation from it. And then I had kids and who became fans of other things. And I realized what it meant to be a fan as a child. And it brought me so much closer to Rose and Doctor Who in a way, because I suddenly could appreciate what that sort of thing meant to people, because I could see that emerging in my own children, you know, which is really lovely.
Do they think you're cool, your kids?
I don't think they think I'm cool. Like I try and get them into Doctor Who, and they're not quite there yet. I think a lot of it is because they still find it quite hard to separate me from the character, and then they're a bit like, why are you being chased around by aliens? It's so awful. Weren't you terrified? You know, I think they feel a bit threatened by it somehow. And but yeah, I show them the music videos. They quite like that. It's less scary for them to compute, I think.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. I should say you are my favorite actress ever.
Oh,
I love you
you
so much. You were my introduction to Doctor Who, which I now love. So I owe a lot of that to you, and I've always just loved Rose. I could relate to her, especially not having a lot of opportunities. I live in a very small town. So my question was, what's the weirdest thing a fan has ever asked you to sign?
Their breasts. Pretty weird. And not just in a picture like I did today. That I was comfortable with that. But they're actual breasts. Actual breasts. I think that's it. Everything else is pretty straightforward. But just that was odd. But I did it, obviously. Thanks. Thank you.
Hey there.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to know what's your favorite blooper or backstage moment on the set of Doctor Who?
Anything to do with that werewolf. Just hours of hilarity. Like, I don't know why that was as funny as it was, but being chased is always funny, whether you're pretending or whether you're actually being chased. It makes you laugh. There's something about it. But then, as I said, being chased by the 6-foot guy in a green catsuit with a tennis ball on the top of his head was just it's too much for me. And also there's a moment with, the 50s episode and I got the bag over my head. You've seen these bloopers, right? Like, you've seen the DVDs. They're all on there. Like, they pulled the bag off my head and my hair was all in disarray and David couldn't hold it together and it literally took 50 takes. And the small things that become some of the funniest moments in your professional life. It's usually a sign of being tired, I think, and working too many hours and shooting through the night, But yeah, there's been some very silly moments on that show.
Thank you.
What's it like being chased by a Dalek? Because they don't physically move very quick, but you have to run from them. So do you just run slowly?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a problem with the Daleks and the Cybermen as well. Like, everything just takes so long. Like, it's just like, they don't move together or like they're bumping into things. It's just so frustrating. So whenever I got a script and they would mention a Dalek, I'd just be like, oh, that's going to be 3 days on one scene because the Daleks will have to like move around the set or whatever. So it's so bad, isn't it? Because everyone loves Daleks, but I just have no time for them.
Terrible to work with.
Terrible. I love the guys in them and I love the voice of the Daleks, but it's just they're so clumsy. It's just awkward to just no grace, Anyway, that's my rant.
Hey.
Hi. Out of the 2 doctors that you got to kiss, David Eccleston and David Tennant, which was your favorite?
Oh, controversial.
Which one is best to kiss?
Yeah.
I just go from one country to the next, just changing this answer so that I feel like I've given them equal praise. So this time, David. I think I kissed David more as well in the series. Yeah. So, I love it, yeah. So, I had more opportunity to, sample that. Sorry, kids.
Hello, speaking of kids.
I have 2 questions. Can I ask both of them?
God.
Okay. My first one is, who's your favorite character in Doctor Who besides yourself?
Who's my favorite character? Oh gosh. I love Captain Jack. Yeah, I really love Captain Jack, for all the reasons you love him. I had a huge soft spot for the ood as well. They're just so sweet. It just breaks my heart every time I see one, even though they're really ugly to look at. They're just so sweet with their little ball. It's just too much. The ood.
My second question was,
Oh, yeah.
what was
Sorry.
your favorite episode?
Well, my favourite episode to watch after mine run in Doctor Who was the Angels episode. I just think that was phenomenal. With Kerry, yeah, it was great. But mine was Tooth and Claw.
You mentioned Captain Jack. Is John Barrowman as much of a riot to work with as he
Yeah.
seems like he would be?
Yeah, he's so much fun. I mean, he's so inappropriate. And he's just, he just came in like a bundle of energy. He's like Tom Cruise, he's just like there, so intense, really high energy, really good looking. Probably more inappropriate than Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise probably looks quite straight-laced, doesn't he? But yeah, just a great person to have on set. Really funny. We had some great times together.
Hi, I'm a big fan of yours, and I have two questions.
This is becoming a thing, Okay. 3 questions.
Just two.
Just 2.
Oh, but my first question is, did you get to keep any of the costumes or props from set after you were done?
Did you steal anything?
Yeah, I stole loads of things. I don't think I kept any of my costumes.
Or props? Like props, right?
Props. No, I stole things out of the TARDIS all the time. I stole, things off the set, and I stole a Slytherin's ring, and but just like the TARDIS console. I don't know if any of you saw our console. It's just full of like bric-a-brac. So it's just like you just go past go. I like that.
The old 5-finger discount.
Right, exactly. You're in there all day, it's the least they can do.
The second question I have is, if you could come back to another episode of Doctor Who as Rose, what episode would it be?
Like beyond my stuff, like with I would definitely come back to, I would come back and be in an episode with Matt Smith, I think, because because he's a really dear friend of mine, and it would be great to, we had our moment with the 50th anniversary, but to do a whole episode as his assistant, that would be really funny.
Okay, thank you. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
And you mentioned the 50th. For you, when you found out that you were going to be a part of that, and then shooting it on set with David and Matt, what was that like for you? Because I think as fans, I know I was so thrilled when I found out you were coming back for that big episode.
I know, I didn't find out until like a week before. So
really?
It's just like, David was like, "You coming back?" I was like, "Are you coming back?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I don't know anything about it." And so then I got the call from Stephen, and he took me through it, and it was cool to come back with a different, sort of different energy and, a different character, really. But just to see, and John Hurt, of course, just to see the 3 of them was like, premium ticket to the live show. It's just like, it was awesome. It's definitely one of those moments that I wish, fans could have witnessed firsthand, you know what I mean? Like, just in that room, just seeing them together and stuff, like, blow your mind.
Hello, are you Matt Smith? Hello.
Kind of, and thank you, you kind of stole my question. Because I want to know what was it like to know that you're coming back for the 50th anniversary, and you did a really good job. Thank you for.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have a supplemental?
Maybe.
Or if you want to go to the next person and then think of one, you're welcome to, because I apologize. I'm sorry. I hate it when we fight, Doctor.
Over the arc of Penny Dreadful, you transform into a very empowered, high-status, sexy character. Is there anything you do to get in that zone?
Is there anything that I what?
Do or are inspired by to get into that zone?
Into sexy zone?
Yeah, why not?
Into the sexy,
Useful
scary
advice.
zone. To be honest, the costumes really help with that stuff because they force you to behave in a certain way, and they started to become more grand and more alluring and more dominating, and the sets as well, like the atmosphere is so essential when you're filming, and so I remember watching that music video with Shia LaBeouf and that girl in the cage. What's her name? Sia? Is it Sia? And Elastic Heart is called, and I just remember going, that's her. That little, I mean, she's a child in that cage, but like, I'm going to base the spirit of that character on that performance, that little contemporary dance performance. So it's just little things like that, really.
Fantastic, thank you.
And just years and years of repressed anger.
11? Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Oh, well done, you're back.
So, it's about the 50th anniversary again. What was your reaction when you read the script where your character was going to be?
When I read the script to which now?
The 50th anniversary.
Oh, I was really happy because I sort of thought, I've come back as Rose already, you know, it's like rinsing it. So it was cool to come back and play around a bit more, you know, be sort of quite madcap and just a bit stupid, really. I really enjoyed it. And it was good to look different, and, you know, I don't know, I just felt like it was a new challenge, and it was a welcome one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of new challenges, I want to ask you about Yerma, because you've won 6 Best Actress awards for this, which I believe is a record. You got an Olivier Award.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's that been like for you? What's that experience been like? They just played it in all these theaters in the UK as well, and movie theaters, so it's really kind of taken a hold and become a bit of a phenomenon.
Yeah, it's gone really, really well. In fact, you should go and see it because it's going to stream here in your cinemas. It's called NT Live, and it will give you a chance to see it if you're at all interested. It was amazing. It was a really, really brilliant play part, and it was devised in a really creative way. And it's, you know, it's about a woman who can't get pregnant, so it's not sci-fi. But it's really emotional, and it's very topical. There's a lot of this, you know, happening. There's a lot of conversations, a big topic of conversation at the moment. So it felt like we were talking about something that felt quite relevant. And it's funny, although it doesn't sound it. It's really, really funny in parts, you know. It's quite an honest observation of a modern marriage as well, which obviously has many laughs.
Congratulations on all the awards and all the praise. Yes, congratulations. Hello there.
Hi, I'm Amelia.
Hi.
So my question is about your music career.
Yeah.
Because I'm a 90s kid and I love pop. I was wondering if A, you're going to do some more music sometime soon, since a lot of 90s pop stars are releasing new stuff now, and B, what's your favorite current pop song?
No, I won't be releasing any new music anytime soon. And what am I loving at the moment? I'm loving this guy called Magical Clouds. He's got a song called Downtown, which I really, really like. In the UK, I don't know if you've got it yet, but there's a guy called Stormzy, which is like grime music, which is pretty cool. I'm loving a bit of that. Who else? I don't know. That's it really at the moment. I'm really getting back in. I'm getting back into some old school like dance music at the moment as well. But yeah, that's my musical selection to date.
Hey there.
Why, hello.
Hi.
It's funny because I was actually going to ask you a music-related question too, but I'll hold that off.
Okay.
But I do have to admit, you know, the preteen inside of me is pretty happy to be here in front of you right now. And actually, you're the reason I came to Fan Expo. So, hi. So I guess, well, quick thinking. Do you have a dream role? Is there a character that you would love to play?
I'd love to play Lady Macbeth. I think that'd be awesome. And I'd also like to just live an out. I've done quite emotional stuff recently, so I'd like to do like an out-and-out comedy, like a sort of gross-out comedy.
Gross-out comedy?
Yeah, just something really rude and wild and loose. Yeah, that's what I want to do. No more period dramas. No more genre stuff, just bad, foul-mouthed comedy. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Best of luck. And you still look real cool.
Well, I have to ask because the question was about hypothetical roles. Would you like to play the Doctor?
No, it's way too much work. I really am so happy for Jodie that she's doing it, but I'm like, wow. Yeah, exactly. That's what I should be doing. I also just think that, God, it's such an intense task. She'll nail it though. I know she's a wonderful actress, and above all else, she's a beautiful human being. So
You know her well?
yeah, I know her. It's so great that she's playing the part. It's so great. I think it's going to be really good for young girls to have, you know, a really smart, positive role model. And I think it's going to bring a new energy to the show that I actually think is needed. Like if they're going to keep making it with the BBC, I really feel like it needs that facelift in a way, you know? I think the boys have done a sterling job, but I think it would be a bit of a snub now if they didn't involve a girl in that role, given the age that we're in, you know? So, power to her.
Can I ask if you found out earlier, or did you find out?
No, I tried to find out. I went through every source and, you know, everyone that's closely connected to Doctor Who. There's a lot of us. Oh, bless you. And I went to Matt and he said, I don't know. And I was like, you do know. And he was like, I don't know. I was like, you're lying to me. And that went on for a while. And it turned out he didn't know. No one knew. No one knew. It was the best kept secret. Don't you think? Like, did anyone genuinely have an inkling that it would be Jodie? No. And I tried really hard. And I know that if I'd found out, I would have told everyone. Because I'm really happy that it remained a secret, but I would have liked that.
Cool. Hello there.
Hi.
Hey.
One of my favorite dynamics in Doctor Who forever is Rose, Nine, and Captain Jack. And it's alluded to that they went on other adventures that nobody ever got to see.
Where is that alluded? In the show, in the episode?
In one of the episodes, it was just like a brief one-off, like
look. It was just a tiny
It was
look.
just a tiny thing, but I am convinced it is there. Anyway, if you could go back and do another episode with 9 and Captain Jack,
Yeah.
what would you do? Where would you go?
Interesting. Oh God, I don't know. Where would I go? Where would you go? Somewhere really, I mean, probably to a party, like a famous ball or something regal, something, you know, because he's the party guy, you know, like, he could sniff out a great party and then we could all go and have a really weird time. And then maybe Captain Jack and Rose could have pursued more of a relationship, you know? There we go. We could have gone into party mode and hit it off. Finally. Thank you.
Hi. So
Hi.
my question for you is, as Rose, you had the chance to interact with a bunch of different species and advocate for them throughout the show. Has that changed your perspective on the extinction endemic that's going on now in reality?
Say that last bit again. I got a bit of reverb. I couldn't really hear you.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So, has it changed your perspective on the extinction endemic that's going on currently for us?
What's the extension?
Extinction?
Yeah.
Like extinction of species?
Yeah.
You're like,
What, Doctor Who?
Yeah, so like having...
Yeah, do I like, is art imitating, like, life? Yeah, I think that there are some very worrying comparisons, and bad behaviour, and I think that perfectly ties into the world of Doctor Who. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they sort of somehow mirror one another in a different way. But, you know, one of the great things about the writing on Doctor Who is that it is a bigger look at what's happening to humanity. You know, it's metaphorical in that way, and I think it is a scary time, and I think that will be reflected in the arts and in drama, and certainly in Doctor Who. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I love your dress.
Hi. So, I don't remember when you had when you first had your music career, but I think it was like, what, 20 years ago?
Yes.
Anyway, used to be a huge
Anyway, moving on.
I used to be a huge fan of your music, so when I saw you in Doctor Who, I immediately fell in love because of that, so I wanted to thank you for that. My question is, so Karen and Jenna 2 years ago shared embarrassing moments with Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi, so I was wondering if you had any funny or embarrassing stories about either Tennant or Escalade.
Any funny stories about Tennant or
Eccleston?
Eccleston eats a whole chicken for lunch.
Actually.
Actual whole chicken. I think that's quite funny.
Every day?
The only other person I know knew, the only person I know about, I think Pavarotti used to do that. But I think he'd have 2 whole chickens. Feathers and all.
Would he have sides with it, like potatoes and rice and salad?
No, just chicken and salt.
Chicken and salt?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's quite a funny story.
That is
I bet no one else has ever heard that before. And now I'm going to get into trouble.
What does David have for lunch?
Oh, David. You know, just sort of, I mean, Scottish food. It's meat and potatoes, you know? Just food, cold food, like food, you know, baking hot food. Oh God, where am I going with this? Just food.
Hi.
Hi.
So, I was wondering what your favorite quote or like line was out of the time you played Rose, or like any sort of Doctor Who quote at all, or line.
I really liked No More. I mean, I got so into that from the 50th episode. Like, I don't know what happened there, but I got really into that. And I sign it now. No More. I sign it all the time. I mean, I really love all of the stuff that happens on the beach at the end. I love how that scene is written. I just think it's so sad and beautiful and like love lost, and you know, they're not really famous quotes, but it's a wonderfully written scene.
Obviously, you never like to say goodbye when you're on a show, but when you read that scene and when you read that episode, Doomsday, what did you think? Did you think this is a fitting send-off for Rose? What was your reaction to it?
I found it really upsetting, and I thought, this is going to be like me saying goodbye to David in real life, you know, and so I could immediately choked me, and I thought, we're going to do the scene really well. We're going to give it a good send-off, you know. And yeah, it's just like saying goodbye to a lover, isn't it? That you're never going to see again. There's no way it can work. It's like desperately sad. So I think we had a good crack at that.
But then did you see him like next week at the grocery store?
Yeah.
Like, hey!
Yeah. I mean, I don't see him as... We both have families, you know, that just slows life down, you know. It's just harder to move around, and, you know, you don't go out as much. So we don't see each other a great deal, but we speak on the phone. I see Matt a lot more, because he literally lives around the corner.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, cool.
He lives around the corner.
You a good neighbor?
Yeah.
Hey there.
Ooh. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering,
Is
did you
that
spend
weird?
any time outside of, like, on the show with the 9th to the 10th Doctor, and who did you like spending time with better if you did?
Who do I like spending time with better off the show? David or Matt?
Chris? Or was it Chris?
Or Chris.
I think it was Chris, yeah.
David or Chris? I really like spending time with both of them. They're very different. You know, I think that, as I said before, I think with the second series there was more chance to mess around, and I think that meant that we could all, you know, be quite loose and free. There was a lot to get through in the first series, and a lot to do, and there was time issues, so we couldn't get to know each other as well, you know. So when it comes to like just being so stupid, I would say that I spent way more time doing that with David. Oh, thank you.
Great cosplay, by the way.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
Hi, Billie.
Hi.
You have actually returned recently to the role of Rose in the form of the upcoming Big Finish
Thank you.
audios.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering if you can tell us a little bit about those.
Well, you'll see, it's lovely really, because it's me, David, and Camille, and if you get nostalgic about those characters, it's really satisfying. It was satisfying to do, and I think we're going to do more of them. I think I'm going to do more of them as Rose, especially. And I think it's a wonderful way for people who really enjoyed that dynamic to, you know, continue to enjoy it, and it's a great, it's a gift. I don't know how many people actually listen to it. Is it a big thing?
The Big Finish audio? Yeah, they're very big, yeah.
Yeah, I've only just really opened my eyes to it, but I think we're lining up to do a lot more.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird playing Rose Tyler as a 35-year-old. It's a bit like, it's just very weird playing an 18-year-old girl now that I'm like a mother of two. It just feels a bit strange, but comes back quite quickly.
And you mentioned Camille, Jackie Tyler, right?
Yeah.
Your mom.
Yeah, I love her.
No, it's been a wonderful way of reliving different eras of the program, actually, for many years now. It's been a great company to do that. So thank you for joining them.
Not at all, of course.
Cool shirt. It's like a Beatles shirt, but the Doctors, right? Really cool shirt. Yeah. We just have time for a few more audience questions, then we got to wrap it up. So we'll go to you. Hey, buddy.
Hi. Hi. Rose, you're my favorite companion.
Thank you.
What was your favorite doctor? Out of all of them.
Probably, I mean, I can't really remember any of the older ones. But I would say David, because he's my doctor, you know what I mean? Like, I spent a lot of my life with him, and we had some incredible adventures, both on the set and off. And we've been there for each other in many ways. But he, you know, he's the one Rose fell for. So I'm going to choose him. What about you, buddy? Who's your favorite?
Who's your favorite?
The 9th Doctor.
Oh. Sweet boy.
Hey,
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to say one thing before I ask my question.
Oh, yes.
Just, you saved my relationship with my sister.
Oh, you told me that. Yeah.
I didn't have a relationship before we were going through a lot of bad stuff. And then we sat down and watched an episode with you in it. And we just completely bonded over that. So because of you and because of Doctor Who, I still have my sister. So thank you.
That's so lovely, isn't it? That's so lovely. I'm so glad.
And my question is, what was the most emotional scene that you had to shoot for Doctor Who?
On the beach, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing more. I didn't know that Yerma, the play I've just done, is really emotional, but like, I think that was the most upsetting scene I've ever had to film. Like, it was really, really, really emotional. But there was some emotional stuff on Father's Day as well. But yeah, I think the beach stuff was really brutal. We were all crying. Even the cameraman.
Really?
Probably.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We do have to wrap it up soon, so we'll just have time for 2 more. So I apologize to the folks that we won't get
sorry,
to.
guys.
Yeah.
Hi, Billie.
Hi, darling.
My question is a little bit of a two-parter, but really quickly. After season 2, were you aware that you were going to come back for season 4? And when you did find out, what was your reaction for Rose having a reunion with Captain Jack in that episode?
Say that again. Sorry.
After season 2, when you left,
Yes.
did you know that you were going to come back for season 4?
No, I didn't know anything.
Yeah, and when you did find out, what was your reaction for Rose reuniting with Captain Jack?
Oh God. That was it. Anything to do with Captain Jack is, oh God. I heard he was here yesterday. I'm glad I missed him. But I am seeing him tomorrow. Oh God.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Miss Piper.
Hi. I guess I'm finishing it off.
Make it a good one.
Yeah, really. I was just wondering, with you know better than most of the companions, of course, the closeness that the Doctor and the companion get. And with Jodie being the new Doctor, how do you think having a female in that role will change the Doctor and companion relationship? Because of course yours could never bloom as it did if it was a woman in that role, probably. So being a female Doctor, how does that affect things?
Hang on. Let's refine this question. So, tell me again. Like, what are you saying? Is it going to affect any sort of love affair?
Well, not necessarily a love affair.
Right.
But the Doctor and the companion always get. They have to be close, otherwise it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah.
And the change in the role does change certain aspects of how people would relate to each other.
I don't know. I think it will bring something totally different, and I think that, you know, in whatever capacity, if they're going to save the world and travel through time, they're going to have a strong allegiance, you know. So I think this is just the beginning of something really exciting, and it's not going to be traditional. It's going to be modern and progressive, and it will be, but it will always have the same. You know, it will always be about needing each other, regardless of whether the Doctor is a girl or a guy or a cat. You know, that's next. Yeah,
you have the inside line on that.
The next Doctor is a cat. Okay. So, you know, I think it's always going to be a beautiful union. You know, in whatever shape or size, whatever. I'm desperate to read those scripts. My God. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any parting words for Fan Expo 2017 before we wrap it
apart
up?
from thanks for coming and for spending your time queuing up and for being here right now and asking me these lovely questions. I hope you have a lovely rest of con. Some of you have been here for 3 days already. But it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to all the guys from Doctor Who that we continue to feel such love from you. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and being a part of this. Give it up for Billie Piper.